Good morning. We find ourselves on Wednesday of the fifth week of our great penitential season of Lent. And perhaps you recall last week I spoke specifically about this very week, beginning with last Sunday. At a former time, many of us remember that this entire fifth week, beginning with last Sunday, was referred to as Passion Week, which was to distinguish it from next week, during which we begin Holy Week. But I would like to elaborate on the reason why the church in the past called this Passion Week. While none of us are able to have public masses, but if you're praying with one of the parishes which live streams or tapes their masses, perhaps you remember that last Friday in the Gospel of St. John, Jesus goes up to the temple in Jerusalem in secret to observe the Feast of Tabernacles. And of course, the scribes, the Pharisees, the elites of the Jews are always looking for reasons to persecute him, to fight with him, to try and prove that he is not who he says he is. And of course, that's impossible. But at the end of last Friday's gospel, after Jesus again responds to their taunts, to their intentional hatred and lack of faith in him, St. John writes that because of what Jesus says to them, they really wanted to arrest him, but they did not do that. And John says, because his hour had not yet come. That hour is what marks this entire week of Passion Week. It's the hour, of course, of not only the crucifixion and death of Jesus, but the hour of his terrible, terrible betrayal by Judas, one of the chosen 12 apostles, who hands him over to those people who precisely want to kill him because they cannot stand to hear the truth about God and the truth about themselves. But it's that term, the hour, which is so important, and we have that term used almost daily now in this fifth week, which we used to call Passion Week. It's preparing us for the betrayal of Jesus by Judas, one of his beloved 12 apostles, his terrible passion with his scourging, his mocking, his crowning with thorns, being spit upon, being slapped and buffeted about, having to carry his own cross to his own execution, and finally that barbaric and terrible crucifixion, and ultimately his death on the cross on Good Friday. But there's also one other element to this term, the hour, and the early church fathers saw this so clearly and passed it on to us down through the ages through their own sermons and meditations and writings on the Passion of Christ. The hour of which St. John speaks not only is alerting us and pointing us to Holy Week and specifically to the Passion and death of Christ, but the hour also points us to what the Gospels refer to when they record that first Easter Sunday. Early in the morning on the first day of the week, before the sun rose, those faithful holy women went to the tomb and found it empty. The fathers of the church say that this hour, which begins in sadness, betrayal, suffering, and death does not end that way, but is transformed by the one who went through the hour into the joy and the bright sunlight, if you will, of Easter Sunday. And so during this Passion Week, let us keep in mind that the hour of the Lord is advancing quickly for all of us. And let us, in our prayers and in our meditations and in making our daily spiritual communion, appreciate even more what he freely and lovingly did for each of us. May God bless you in this 5th week of Lent.